So that is the topic of today. This class is being broadcast live through my YouTube channel and also on the Insight Timer app. So wherever you're watching this from, welcome. Welcome Rich, Andy, CJ, Becca, Julie, Yasmin, Irina, and everyone else who is here. All right, we have a lot to cover today, so I'm going to jump right into the content. And any questions that you have, from time to time, I will pause the content and I'm going to go through the comments and answer the questions. All right, so the COPE framework, that's short for capture, organize, process, and execute. And in a few minutes, you will understand what that is. I opened it with a quote from Cal Newport: a 40-hour time-blocked workweek produces the same amount of output as a 60-plus hour workweek pursued without structure. One of the aspects of self-discipline, perhaps one of the key aspects, is structure. Self-discipline gives us empowering structures that allow us to be more centered, to be more organized, to be more effective with our time, our energy, our money even, and to live life in a way that we are more likely to achieve all our goals. So what will you learn today? How to implement an aspiration-driven schedule, the COPE framework for dealing with tasks, projects, and incoming information, which apps and tools to use and which ones I use, how you plan your day, your week, and your year. And part 2, which is same time next week, will be about digital decluttering. And that is based on the COPE framework. So it's the sequel to this class. Now, sources and influences for this framework that I have developed: Getting Things Done by David Allen, the absolute classic in this field; Free to Focus by Michael Hyatt; The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey; my own training in a Zen monastery when I was 19 years old and I wanted to become a Zen monk; and of course my personal experience implementing this in my own life and coaching for many years people to stay more organized in their lives. Now, without systems, we forget things, we are late for things, we are underprepared, we lose sight of tasks, we feel overwhelmed and fatigued, things take longer to complete than they should, you feel more tired at the end of the day, you tend to procrastinate because your attention, your willpower, your energy is not available. You have spent it in ways that are not effective. So when you need to go through a difficult task, you want to escape it. It could be difficult mentally, physically, or emotionally. You want to escape it, so you procrastinate, or you get distracted with other things. You also can't find stuff. Everywhere you look, there are tasks. And that can be very demoralizing. And there's a sense of futility. So I would love to hear from you, which of these problems are the main ones for you? Which of these do you struggle with currently? Julie, I downloaded a calendar and tick. I'm going to give your system a whirl. Very good. Very good. All of them. I get that answer quite often. So you're not alone. I forget stuff, late for things, procrastination. Procrastination, yes. Procrastination, tasks being everywhere. Yes. Tasks everywhere. Procrastination, yes. So now let's have a look at what's possible with systems. With a effective system such as COPE framework, you will never forget a task. You may choose not to do it. You may choose to deprioritize it in relation to other things, but you will not forget it. You'll be on time for things, prepared for meetings, will not carry tasks in your mind because all of them will be in your system, in your to-do app. You will feel more present and calm, more focused. You will know what to do next, rather than should I do this, should I do that, should I do this item that is undone in my email, do this item that is undone in my chat app that I need to reply to this person, should I go and open this file in my desktop, which is also something that I need to do, what do I do next? That's not going to happen anymore. You are doing one thing at a time. Things get done. You can make time and space for your aspirations. You will remember birthdays and other important events. And you will have a physical and digital space that is tidy. So that is what's possible with the correct systems. And of course, it takes time for you to implement a system. You do it step by step, little by little. Otherwise, today I'm going to explain all at once so it can feel overwhelming. But know that you have to implement it little by little, and it's possible. I recently worked with a lady who had 250,000 unread emails across her email accounts. And we got her to inbox 0. So it's also possible for you. The transformation here is from overwhelmed to organized, from stressed to calm, from frustrated to effective, from dissipated to focused. And that's why we are going to learn this framework. Now, first, the setup. There are 3 principles that you need to understand before we go and talk about the COPE framework itself. The first one is that we are organizing our life in a way that is aspiration driven. There's this story that I include in chapter 22 of the book. It was popularized by Stephen Covey, which is our life is like a jar. There are the big rocks, the pebbles, and the sand. The big rocks are the most important things, your aspirations. The pebbles are the other stuff that needs to get done and attended to, but they're not the things that, in your deathbed, you're going to look back and you feel like, I wish I could have put that extra pebble. No, you're going to feel, I wish I could have made space for that big rock. And then sand is everything else that is not so valuable, especially distractions. Now, if you first put the sand and then the pebbles, you cannot fit all of the big rocks. That is the first line here. But if you start with the big rocks, that is the aspiration-driven life. When you put the pebbles, they find themselves in between the big rocks. And when you put the sand, it fits itself in between the pebbles and the big rocks, and everything fits. You have a complete life. That's what the aspiration-driven life is all about. And that translates into an aspiration-driven schedule. For you to implement this, you need to know what are your big rocks. And in a way, the big rocks are your aspirations. So that is the work of the aspiration pillar. But in a more particular way, in a given phase of your life, you may need to have to prioritize something else. So maybe that is a bigger rock at that point. Maybe health is not one of your 3 big aspirations, but in this phase of your life, you need to prioritize health so that you have a foundation and you don't need to be distracted or lose energy in health. So maybe for the next 3 months or the next year, health is one of your big rocks. So your big rocks are the things that you want to prioritize in this phase of your life. 2 or 3, no more. So think of the different areas of your life, your career, health, relationships, finances, mission, etc. Which of these are priority for you in this phase of your life? And how much time will you dedicate to each area per week? So if you're studying for a given exam or preparing for a job interview, maybe that is the big rock for you in this phase. And you have to decide how many hours per week do I want to do this? Is it 5 hours? Is it 20 hours? Then what is the next big rock in my life? Well, I feel that I need to organize my home and organize my life and declutter stuff so that I'm ready for the next phase. Okay, how much time per week do you want to dedicate to that? Is it 1 hour? Is it 5 hours? Is it 7 hours? You have to make those decisions. And then we're going to put all of that together in a calendar, and we're going to make adjustments until all the areas of your life feel like they have the amount of space and time that they need in this phase of your life. And that is the concept of time buckets or time slots, time boxing. And this is available in the resources page. Whenever you see this resources page on the bottom right, it means that there's a screenshot of this slide for free download in the resources page. How do you get to the resources page? You search for my name on Insight Timer, and the link will be in my bio when you get to the teacher's profile page. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, I am going to paste the link in the comments in a moment. So different authors talk about time buckets in different ways. What I'm talking about here is having general time buckets for your life that are somewhat fixed. Then within those time buckets, you can have sub-buckets for the different big tasks in your work, for example. And that could vary from day to day. But it would be better if the big buckets of your life are fixed. I'll show you an example of that in a moment. So you create the buckets for the different areas of your life. You can use different colors, as you will see, and make sure it has the right balance for you depending on your needs in this phase of your life. This can be as loose or as structured as you like. And what this allows us to do is, instead of having one long, big, scary queue of all the tasks in your life, all bundled together, you have different queues. So you have your tasks for household and life admin, that's in its own box. You only look at those tasks, you only worry about those tasks when it's the time bucket to work on that area of life. Then you have tasks for your career. Well, that's in its own list or folder, and it can have its own sub-lists. And you only worry about those when it's that time bucket in your week. And so like this, you have multiple queues that are tasks of the same nature are lumped together. You can even create daily work themes. So for example, for me, Monday and Tuesday, actually now Sunday because of my time zone here in Brazil temporarily, Sunday and Monday is when I do my live classes and have all of my coaching sessions, and sometimes Tuesday as well. Thursday is when I create content that goes out for free. So the article of the week in my blog and the 7 videos for YouTube and the other social media channels, one 1-minute video per day. So I create all of that on Thursday. That's what I do Thursdays. I don't do other things. I don't do calls. I don't do other projects. I do these things. And then Friday is when I work on a core product, such as improving my app, which is what I've been doing since June, planning the new version, designing it, etc., or writing a new book. So like this, I have theme days. There's the theme. Thursday is one theme, Friday is one other theme, Monday and Tuesday is another theme. And I don't need to worry about the tasks that belong to other themes when I am on a Thursday, for example. This simplifies things a lot and allows us to focus more deeply with fewer interruptions. The setup you would review from time to time, and in the beginning you would be reviewing a little bit more often until you have fine-tuned it, but then ideally you want to get to a point where it is somewhat fixed. So what this allows us to do is, instead of having this, a long queue of tasks, we have this, multiple queues with fewer tasks in each queue. Here's an example of what a time buckets calendar might look like. The different colors here represents the different buckets for the areas of your life. And the way you would implement this is having a secondary calendar. Any calendar tool that you use allows you to create multiple calendars. So you would create another calendar called routine or time buckets or schedule. And you create recurring events for all of these things so they show up every week. And you use this to just orient yourself. What should I be doing in this moment? Which type of tasks do I go and do in this particular bucket? In this example, there is the health and fitness. So the golden events here is the morning routine, which is focused for this person in health and spirituality. So if there are any tasks about health and spirituality, they are done during the morning routine. Then we have, okay, growth spirituality is there too, friends and family. The, how do you call this color? Kind of pink, salmon. Someone help me here. So, Sunday, the whole day, and Saturday afternoon, and then 1 hour every evening. That is a time to spend with people in your life, with friends and family. If there are tasks for these areas of your life, list of movies you want to watch, people to reach out to, trips to plan, etc., that is the time that you would do it. And you will not worry about these tasks any other time, and you will not worry about any other tasks this time. So this clear separation of areas of life allows you to navigate much more smoothly and be more focused. Home, where is it here? So dinner and household from 6:30 to 8 p.m. and then every Saturday from 11 to 1 p.m. So if you need to keep your house organized, do the laundry, do the dishes, call someone to come and fix something or fix it yourself, groceries, etc., you have time buckets for these things. And like this, on and on. And is this in the spreadsheet? The spreadsheet in the resources page, it is. So I know that many of you cannot read this properly because you might be on your phone or on a tablet. You can go and download this image from the resources page as an example. All right, before I go into the second principle, let me see if you guys have any questions. I feel scattered. Okay, yes. So, all right, so these are answers to my questions. Let me go and paste here on YouTube the resources link. All right, and pink or salmon both will work. Let's continue. Now with principle number 2, time buckets. All right, so this is, the idea of time buckets is to help you implement aspiration-driven life. You create space for your aspiration and you don't let other things come in, but you also do this for all the other areas of your life. So this means that at any given time, you're working off a smaller subset of tasks, which means you're less overwhelmed. When your time is structured like this, you know what you should be focused on at any given time. You don't have your whole life, all the things that you need to do in your mind at any given time. No, it's one slice of your life at a time. Divide and conquer. You will feel more present and focused. So we talked about this, create repeating events. And then once you have created your first version of your time buckets calendar, go and add up how many hours each item takes and make sure you're happy with that. If you have a passion project of learning the piano, starting a blog, whatever that may be, and you see like, okay, I have 2 hours per week on this. Am I happy with 2 hours or would I like more? Yes, I would like more. Okay, which bucket am I going to take time from to add to this bucket? And this forces us to be really aware and responsible with our time. Otherwise, we may go and add a lot of time to one particular area of life because it's more interesting or because it's easier, and then the other areas suffer. And eventually then the other areas are going to bite us and call us, and then we cannot do this one anymore. And so life becomes like this. And we're not really happy. We're not really present. Right? It's not the best way. Then, of course, we feel overwhelmed, unfocused, etc. And then you respect your time buckets. That is the last letter of cope, execute. You follow with your plan as best as you can. There will be contingencies, there will be interruptions, yes. You can plan for some of these, but not for all of them. And you will need to adjust as you go. That's okay. But you start with a clear plan and a strong intention to follow that plan. And here's where the principles of time awareness that we covered in chapter 33 of the book come handy. The third principle is focused presence. That means by implementing this system, you will be doing one thing at a time. No multitasking. We cannot effectively multitask with cognitive tasks, with anything that really demands our attention. You can multitask in the sense that you can be listening to an audiobook while you are driving or walking, or you can be thinking about a problem while you're eating. So that type of multitasking we can do. You will eat your meal and you will have thought about your problem. It's different than if you're just eating the meal and purely eating. You will feel much more. You will experience much more, yes. But it is possible. Now, with two cognitive tasks, you cannot do that effectively. It actually hurts your ability to be focused. It hurts your output. It also makes you more tired and stressed at the end. So one thing at a time. That means one life area at a time in the time bucket schedule, one project at a time, one task at a time. That's a valuable lesson I have learned from my Zen training. Now, the final topic in setup is what tools will you need? I get this question all the time, so I included this slide. You will need 3 types of tools. The first one is a task manager. I strongly recommend you do this by using an app, not paper. And by the end of this class, it will be clear for you why. What I recommend, if you want a simple solution, Things 3. If you are in the Apple ecosystem, Mac, iPhone, iPad, or TickTick for all other platforms. There are hundreds of to-do apps out there, really, hundreds. And I haven't tried them all, but I have looked at the main ones. Things 3 is the one that I use. If you want the most feature-rich, most flexible, that would be Amazing Marvin. Now, if you're dealing with projects, so it's more complex than just your day-to-day tasks and involves other people, you want a project management tool rather than just a task management tool. And these 3 here, from simpler to more complex, Trello, Asana, and ClickUp. And again, there are many other ones here as well. Calendar, that's the second type of tool, and any calendar will do. They are very similar in their features. It's mostly about your preference in terms of UI, etc. And then a Notes app. Notes app, because if something is an information that you need to keep and remember, no, that's not a task. It's something that you may need to find in the future, that you may need to use in the future, but it's not that you have to do something about it now or anytime in particular. So it's information, it's not task. And it is better to keep your tasks and your informations, your tasks, your events, and your informations separate. They are better suited to different types of tools. And I know that there are several tools out there that attempt to merge all of them. And I don't think that that's a great idea. there are features in a dedicated notes app that you will not find in a task manager that allows you to take notes, such as TickTick. So for notes, if you are using the Apple ecosystem, Craft or Bear. I think Craft has a Windows version now, actually, and that's the one I use, Craft. Or you can use Evernote or Notion for all other platforms. I used Evernote for many years, and 8 years actually as a paid user, and then I stopped using them because I was not happy with the direction the app was taking. All right, so this is also in the resources page. Now let me see if there are any questions. Where to download it? To download the resources page, you will search for my name on Insight Timer, Giovanni. That will take you to my teacher's profile page, and the link is in the bio. Okay, so I answered this too. Yeah, you cannot post links through the chat. There's also a community in Insight Timer, Mindful Self-Discipline community, and in the homepage of that community, you will find links. Insight Timer is being a little bit annoying about sharing links in the community. They said, like, I shouldn't share links in my community. I said, well, I created a community to give people further resources about my work, that these are the only people who are there. I said, no, you shouldn't share external links. So in my profile page, it's definitely there. Oh, teachers usually put spaces in between because I don't think Insight Timer allows direct links. That's an interesting strategy. So I might do that in the future. I'll prepare a link that has spaces in between. All right, so let me see if there are any questions on YouTube. Don't you use Microsoft Outlook for this? Yes, he asks. No, I I really don't like the Microsoft Outlook interface. It's too cluttered. It's everything in the same place. But that's a matter of choice. I've worked with clients that have Outlook and they were struggling with it. But if it works for you, it works for you. The principles of the COPE framework are the same regardless of the tool you use. Thank you, Nadia. And by the way, these classes are made possible by donations. So if you appreciate this class, if this is giving you valuable information that will help you in your life, then consider leaving a donation to support my work. And there are other ways to support my work. You could get extra copies of the book for friends and family. You could leave a review on Amazon for the book. That will help more people get to the book, and it also call more attention for foreign publishers who will then want to translate the book to other languages. Currently, the book is available in Chinese and Portuguese, and soon in Turkish and Hindi. Irina, what does it mean, one area of life at a time? So that's the time buckets. It means that when you are in the area of life, in the time bucket of working in a particular, let's say, working in your health, then that's the only area of life that you're thinking about. You're not worried about the tasks that you have in other areas of your life. You are doing the tasks in the health area of life. When you are doing household tasks, you're not worried about work tasks. When you're doing work tasks, you're not thinking about household tasks. You're focused on one thing at a time. So COPE is short for capture, organize, plan, and execute. To capture is to collect all your tasks in a single place. And that's the most important item, because without this, you cannot follow the other ones. Organize, you put everything where it belongs. Planning is something that you do once per day and once per week. There are also other forms of planning to decide your priorities. And executing is about following your plan in a focused, organized manner. This is also in the resources page. So the first practice, capture. The idea is that you want to bring all tasks and information to a single place. When do you do it? Every day, throughout the day, whenever there is new input or new ideas. The benefits of doing this is it reduces overwhelm, gives you a sense of control. Things are less likely to be lost or forgotten because you're immediately capturing. You remember that you need to do a task, you go and capture it. You go and take note of it in your to-do app. A sense of control, because then everything that you need to do is in a single place and you can order the things among themselves. This will keep other areas of your physical and digital life tidy, and it facilitates focus. So the principle when you're capturing is that you're capturing everything that needs to be done or remembered, but you're not processing anything. You're not making a decision of how you're going to do it, when you're going to do it, etc. Whenever you need to remember something, you go and take note of it immediately. So if you are in a meeting and you remember that you have to call someone to fix the dishwasher, you go and immediately say, fix dishwasher, enter. It's done. It takes 10 seconds to do that, and you're not going to forget, because then that landed on the inbox of your to-do app. And you didn't get distracted. It just took 10 seconds and you're back on track. Now, if you need to, it's different from immediately then you go and open Google and you see dishwasher repair and you put the name of your neighborhood and you start clicking, then you're off. You got distracted, you broke your flow. You are overwhelming yourself. Your energy is divided. And it's also different from just ignoring that because you should be focused. And then what's going to happen? That same thought will visit you at another time that you're also going to be focused on something else. So it's better to capture it, get it out of your mind, but don't spend time on it right now. So it goes to your to-do app inbox. The idea is you never keep stuff in your mind. And resist the temptation to process as you capture, because if you do that, you're making the process of capturing more complex. Instead of having it be like really simple, no need to make any decisions, just take note and finish. If you need to make decisions, where to put it, what tag, when am I going to do it, is this needed or not, then you're making that process more difficult, which means it's less likely for you to want to capture everything, because now it's not so simple anymore. There are many steps that you need to go through. So don't process, just capture throughout the day. So you're not making any decision, you're just capturing so it's out of your mind and it doesn't interrupt your flow. Now the idea of capture is that you are consolidating all your inboxes in a single inbox. What do I mean by inboxes? An inbox is any place where tasks are stored. Any channel through which a new task can come into your life is an inbox. So guess what? Your chat apps are inboxes, because you will need to make decisions. You will need to answer people, and sometimes an answer will take some time for you to realize what you want to do and what you want to say. Tasks often comes through messaging apps, and you're not going to do them immediately the moment you read your message. And so what do most people do? They keep it there. And so that works as an inbox. They just make that chat unread. And then what happens if new things come in that chat and the other things are not things that you need to act on, just information, then do you still keep it unread? Do you keep it read? And if it's unread, how far back are you going to scroll when you actually have time to take action to see what you needed to do in the first place? You see how this is not an effective way to do things. Our messaging apps should not be to-do inboxes. Our to-do app should be our to-do inbox. So if you receive a message that requires you to take action and you're not going to take action now, open your to-do app, capture that, and finish. A friend asks you, can you help me with the birthday party of my cousin this weekend? Whatever it is. You need to decide. You need to look at your calendar. You need to see if you can prioritize this on top of other things. And you can't do this right now because you're busy in a meeting, or you should be focused on writing that report or whatever it is. So just go and open. You can tell him like, I'll get back to you. Let me think about it. I'll get back to you. Answer. The person has an answer immediately. That's super cool to be on the other side. It feels like you're not ghosted. And you go and open your to-do inbox and you write, think if I can help Jack with ABC. Enter. Finish. Your chat app does not become your inbox. Now, email. Most people use their email inboxes as their to-do inbox. So whenever you open your email every day, so many things come to your eyes and to your subconscious mind, to your brain, saying like, hey, this is a task. Don't forget about me. You need to do this too. Oh, you haven't answered that person yet. All of this comes into your mind. And whether you are aware of it or not, it's weighing down on you. Because you're just switching from one inbox to another in your digital environment and also in your physical environment. And then of course you feel overwhelmed. Of course you feel fatigued. Of course you want to procrastinate and get distracted as a way to escape all of this noise. But then things doesn't get done and you don't move forward with your life or your goals. So you can see how the way we typically work, unless we are really, really intentional and have implemented a system, the way we gravitate towards with technology is not helpful at all. Your desktop. Most people use their desktop as a sort of to-do. You download a contract that you need to read and write. You're not going to do it now. You just leave it in your desktop. There's a photo that you need to send to your grandma or that you need to edit. You leave it in the desktop. There is a PDF that you downloaded to read and implement about a better way to exercise. You leave it in your desktop. So it's another place where you're being overwhelmed. And it's impossible to prioritize effectively when your tasks are scattered like this throughout all inboxes. They are not in a centralized place. Which inbox are you going to check first or do first? There's no clear answer. Maybe one of the tasks in your messages inboxes should be number 1 priority, but your number 2 priority maybe should be to do that thing that is in your desktop. And number 3 priority might be the email that came last week and you haven't answered yet. You know, it's very complicated to navigate life like this. Papers. Pieces of paper on your desk around your home. Bills you need to pay. Contracts you need to read, places you need to go to, things you need to cancel, etc. These are tasks, and this is an inbox. Your voicemail. You need to listen, you need to answer or take action. It's an inbox. Your browser tabs. You know, this drives me nuts whenever I see someone else using their computer. Most people have a huge amount of tabs open. And each of those tabs is a task that was not completed. Each of those tabs is calling your mind, saying like, hey, don't forget about me. Hey, you need to do this. Hey, this thing that you started purchasing, you didn't finish. Hey, you didn't watch this video that is important for making a decision in your life right now. Hey. Then what do? Typically, we either feel extremely overwhelmed, tired, stressed, depleted, demoralized. or we learn to become desensitized toward all these things, which then means that these inboxes are not effective in the first place. They are just a graveyard of tasks, of forgotten priorities, abandoned projects. And that also weighs down on you. It makes you feel less effective in your life. And can that affect your self-esteem, your self-confidence? Can that affect your ability to focus and be disciplined? Yes. One day I have to do a program to take people step by step through all of this. Until then, you have this class. I hope you're taking notes. Some of the screenshots are there in the resources page. And if you're a member of the Mindful Self-Discipline app, then there's a recording of this that you can watch little by little and implement as you go. Post-it notes, another form of inbox. Your tasks can disappear blown by the wind, or taken by a child or a cleaning person or whatever it is. Objects around your home that also show, hey, don't forget about me. The pile of dishes, the laundry, that thing, that window that is not working and you have put a screwdriver there, you just haven't finished, so it's there, it's calling your attention also. Your attention is being called on all directions, all the time, through all of these inboxes. And then, of course, there are also the items that you're keeping in your mind. And your mind wants to make sure you don't forget them, so from time to time it will pop up. Boop, don't forget about this, don't forget about that, don't forget about this. Disturbing you, interrupting you, breaking your flow throughout your day. So that is the mess that we naturally gravitate towards unless we have a system. What we want to do, and that's what capture is about, the first step of cope, is to consolidate all our inboxes into one inbox. And that inbox is your to-do app. And when you do that at first, there are two possibilities. Either you will feel relieved, like, finally everything is in a single place. Now I feel like it's contained. And or you might feel overwhelmed, like, wow, it's much more than I thought. But it was already there. It's not creating new tasks. It's just consolidating them. So with the right system, that sense of overwhelm will pass as you learn how to organize, O, and plan, and then execute, P and E of cope. All right, let me take a breath and see how you guys are going. Let me know if this system, if this idea of capturing everything is making sense for you. How do you feel about this? Thank you, Nadia, for your donation. All right, there are several questions here. Thank you also, Sergi, MCB, and Ben. Irina, does it feel, Linnea, does it feel restrictive at first? It might, but that will pass, and it will be replaced by a sense of flowing well, being focused, and things being under control. What about tasks that come as urgent? Yes, so this is the time where you will need to address something that is urgent. Last Sunday, I had, as usual, planned my day, the things I wanted to do. And at a certain time in the afternoon, I had to spend a long time with a family member on the phone because she was having certain troubles and she needed my support. And that took half an hour, which meant that there's certain things I wanted to do that day and had planned for it that I couldn't do. But it's okay. It's something urgent, it's something important, and it needs to be done now. And then you make a conscious decision. That is not a self-discipline fault. It's you making a conscious decision. So you can change your plan intentionally as long as you know what you're doing and you're happy with your decision. The problem is we typically do that unintentionally, unaware as we are procrastinating, getting distracted, or don't have clear priorities. Yes, Becca, it's true. Apple will start taking 30% of all the donations made through the lives. So the best way for you guys to make donations would be to go to my teacher's profile page and donate from there. Then that goes all to the teacher. And I have a task for me to create a Patreon page where you can donate through the Patreon page, and that'll be even better. Soon it will be there. I'm trying to digital plan, but manually has been my favorite. It's just taking so much time now. There's a learning curve from going from manual to digital, and also for implementing the system. So that is normal. How do you collaborate with spouse on tasks that are needed? So that's a good question. Some apps will allow you to share task lists. And so both of you can see the same list, a common list, and then also edit. Others will not allow, and then it's about communication. Anna, what I recommend is Things 3, if you are Apple user, or TickTick for all other platforms. Is it okay to have my work Gmail account, calendar, task list, and emails to manage that area of my life? For calendar and emails, yes, but the task manager of Google is not great. So I wouldn't recommend that. I would have a separate one for that. How do you keep track of additional information, such as resource documents that you need to do a task? Well, that is information. So that doesn't live in your to-do app. It doesn't live in your calendar. It doesn't live in your inbox. Whatever information you need, you download and you save it somewhere in your computer in a folder meaningfully named. More about that next week. Or if it's just a text, you copy and paste that to your Notes app. That's what I do. Why am I feeling that everyone needs to watch these sessions? Yeah, this last one is even people who are organized and disciplined to a certain degree, they have a lot to improve in this area. How do you consolidate the paper stacks? Well, you go through all of them. What I do, I go through all of them and then I get rid of them. There's no paper. I don't keep paper. If it's a bill that I need to keep, I scan it and it goes to a certain folder in my computer and I get rid of that paper. If it's something that I need to do, I will either do it now if it's going to take 2 minutes, or I add that to my to-do list and I get rid of the paper. If I capture just a task, where do I find the needed info? Okay, so some task managers will allow you to add attachments to a task. Things 3 unfortunately doesn't, but you can mention in the task description, check PDF, check downloaded PDF. Or if you have all your files and notes organized, then you will know. You open a task, it's about continue the report. Well, the report is not going to be in the task itself. You know where you're keeping files in your computer. You go and open that report and do it. The task manager is like the hub. It points you to what you should do and where you should go. Lots of good questions coming up. So you have R saying that he or she has hundreds of tasks in the backlog. How do I start? If it's me and I have allowed things to get to that point, I will take a break from everything else and just organize my life until it's ready, and then I will continue work or get back to work. So I would actually take time off to go through all of that. If that's not possible or desirable, you can create a habit of spending an hour every day going through the backlog until you're done. And then at that point, it's going to only take you 10 minutes a day to maintain. I've worked with clients that implemented both these. I implemented a task app last year. It feels empowering and in control. Wonderful. How much time is used up with all the capturing? Not much at all, because every capture only takes 10 seconds, maximum 30 seconds. It's the beginning where you're consolidating everything into a single thing. Yeah, that may take a while. That may take 3 hours. That may take half an hour. It depends on how many tasks and how scattered they were. But that's just the setup that you do once. And everyday life, it's very quick. And it's worth the time. I still try to do many tasks at once. It seems my brain thinks I have 3 times as much time as I truly have. Suggestions. Well, become aware of what that is doing to you, how that is adding a sense of overwhelm and fatigue, and tiredness, stress, and make an experiment. We're starting the week now. Take this week as an experiment and do only one thing at a time until next Sunday and see how you feel. Then you will know experientially, and it will be much easier to implement that choice. Okay, I already answered that question. My company has been switching from Outlook to Google, and I'm struggling to keep organizing Google. Any resources? Just spend some time on YouTube learning how to use whatever new tool you're going to. I prefer Google tools better than the Microsoft ones. But depending on the nature of your work and life, you may find that it's the opposite. In any case, it's about, if you spend half an hour learning the ins and outs of the tools you're going to use, that is going to save you a ton of time down the track. I am retired and prefer a non-digital planner. Are there any you would recommend? No, I've never used It's been ages since I used a non-digital planner, so I don't have any particular insights on it. Can I add a link in the task manager to the document on my laptop? There are ways to do that. In Things, if you just drag the document to the task, it will show a link, and when you click that link, it will open the folder that the document is in, which is good enough. If your documents are all in Google Drive or Dropbox, then it's easy. You just go and put the link. When reorganizing and downsizing belongings in my home, can I apply the COPE method? Putting everything in one space and then organizing and finding space for everything? Yes. That's a way to go about it. That's probably what I would do. Can I add to the task app the whole email? Yes, you could copy and paste the whole email or parts of the email in the body of the task in your to-do app. I've listened to this part of your session 3 times. I've become better at the COPE framework, but still get stuck at the capture stage. When capturing list gets too long, planning itself becomes overwhelming. Okay, so as we review the concepts today, you will probably get the answer to this question. Always do one thing at a time, yes. All right, we only have half an hour, so let me get back to the content. We have done only half of the class, so needless to say, we're not going to be able to cover everything. So the idea is that your desktop should not be your to-do list. Your browser should not be your to-do list. Your email should not be your to-do list. Your chat apps should not be your to-do list. And your mind should not be your to-do list. Your to-do app should be your one and only to-do list. Doesn't get any simpler than that. So if you take only one thing from this class so far, the idea of having an aspiration-driven schedule and life by using the time buckets for the different areas of your life. That would be thing number one. And number two is having a single inbox where all your tasks are consolidated. These two things in themselves are already powerful. Now, the second practice of cope is organize. All right, you have consolidated everything in your to-do app inbox. Now it's all there in a single place, which is great, but it's probably going to be a very long list. So the first time that you do this is going to be a huge list. And then as you're going to be doing this every day, you're going to go through the organize step every day. Then the list is going to be much smaller, perhaps only 5 items, perhaps 15, unlikely to be more than that. So organizing is going through your inbox in your to-do app and putting everything where it belongs. You do that once or twice a day. It's going to take you 5 minutes, really. Unless you have many of those things that you want to do as you go, then that's different. But just organizing itself does not take long. I have to run through this because we don't have that much time. Now, organizing is about processing your inbox. It's not about doing every single item in your inbox. There's a difference. You open your to-do inbox and you start with the first item on top. You go through all of them one by one until your inbox is empty. And I'm going to show you an example in a moment. You put each item where it belongs. And at this point, you are adding information to that item. You're adding the date that you want to do it. You're choosing the right list or folder where that item belongs. You're adding tags if you want to, any extra information. You're not doing all of that as you capture because that defeats the purpose. You're doing it as you're processing once a day. You process once a day. You capture 10 times a day. So you want to batch this adding information and making these decisions to once a day. So how do you process? You go through these questions. Get the first item. Is this just information? Meaning there's nothing that I need to do. I may just need to consult. I may need to be aware of this piece of information in the future, but it's not a task. If it's not a task, it doesn't belong to your to-do app. It belongs to your notes app. Or if you're not going to need it, if it's just temporary, then delete it. If this item is an event, then it belongs to your calendar app. It needs to happen at a particular day and time. It's an event. It goes to the calendar. In all other cases, it's a task. Now, what are you going to do with that task? Here are some further questions to help you decide. If it's not important, then just drop it, delete. And by the way, it feels like a lot of things to ask yourself. And in the beginning, it will feel like that. You are learning a new skill. But I promise that very soon this will all become second nature and you won't even need the questions anymore. As long as you do it consistently for a while. Okay, it's important. I cannot just delete it. All right, can I do it in 2 minutes? It's going to take less than 2 minutes. Yes, so just do it now. Don't even trouble prioritizing for later. Do it now. No, it's important. It's going to take more than 2 minutes. All right, can you delegate? Can you ask someone else to do it? If so, then you delegate. And you keep that task in a list in your to-do app called waiting. Waiting. You're going to see in a moment what we use that for. But the purpose is that you're delegating the task, but who knows if it's going to get done or not. People are not disciplined. So you may need to follow up like, hey, did you do that? Do you need any help, etc. And that itself is a task. To follow up with this person about that thing, that's a task. So that goes to its own list in your to-do app. Everything else, meaning like, yes, this thing is important, it's going to take more than 2 minutes and I have to do it myself, then you will defer. You will put it in a particular place in your to-do app. And there's a screenshot of this in the resources page. Now, how do you defer? Well, deferring is putting that task, drag and drop that task to a certain place in your to-do app. To know where you need to put it, you're going to have to decide two things. First is where. What list in my to-do app does this belong to? Does it belong to the health list, to the finances list, to the family list, to the household list, to the project ABC list? Go and drag to where it belongs. And remember, when you're going through your day-to-day life using the time bucket principle, it's important because you're only going to do the tasks of that particular time bucket in that time bucket. So that's why you're putting it to the bucket where it belongs. And then you decide when. That's about priority. How soon do you want to do this? Is it today? Is it this week? Is it this month? Is it someday? If you have a date in mind, attribute that date to the task. So your to-do app will show that task when that date comes. If you don't have any particular date, then just leave it without dates. Many of my tasks don't have any dates. Now, how do you organize your to-do app? What lists or folders do you keep? There is the inbox, where everything that you capture gets saved in the inbox. All to-do apps have that by default. There is today, which all of them have as well. It's the things that you have planned to do today. As you're going through your day, you don't look at any other list. You only look at today. I have decided that these are the things I can do today. So until the end of my day, I'm only going to look at this one list. And this one list is not going to have 50 items of all areas of your life. It's going to have the items that you have decided you are able to do today after looking at your calendar, after knowing what time you have available for the different areas of your life today. If you have no time available today to do household tasks, life admin tasks, then there should be no life admin tasks in your today. If you have only 10 minutes, there should be only the amount of tasks you can do in 10 minutes, probably one. Then there is the this week or upcoming list for the tasks that you have planned to do this week. And you have decided that when you did your weekly planning. We're going to get to that in a moment if time allows. And then the main area of your to-do app, these are the lists that you have created, the different buckets or projects in your life. Then you have the waiting list. Whenever you took action on something, you're waiting for someone else to take action before you can continue. You drop that in your waiting list. You need to follow up. Some people like to create a this month, this week, next week, etc. It's up to you. I don't. So this is a screenshot of my to-do app when I created this presentation January last year. So nearly almost 2 years ago. You can see that there's the inbox, the today, the upcoming. These are fixed as part of this app. Then there's a bunch of folders here that I don't use, the anytime, someday, logbook, and trash. I rarely get into that. And then the main area here, the folders that I have created. I have divided my life in 3 main areas: work, life, and spirituality. And then there are sub areas or sub projects in those. And each of them are going to have tasks. There will be a screenshot of this in the resources page. So let's go through some sample processing of an inbox. All of these items are real tasks that existed in the week of my life when I was doing this. Now, it's a pretty big inbox, and typically my inbox is going to have 3 to 10 items, not this amount, because we're processing every day, so it doesn't accumulate. But here's an example. So you're going to go through each one of these items, ask yourself those questions that we covered in the previous slides, and then do something about each of them. And that is where these are the decisions that I've made. So for example, Cairo, Thursday, 3 p.m. That's an appointment. Instead of opening my calendar, which is more troublesome, I just typed that sentence. And when it's time to process my inbox, I will go and create that calendar event. So I have to add it to my calendar and tick as done or delete. Call back Anna. Is it an information? No. An event? No. It's a task. Is it important? Yes. I need to do it. Is it going to take more than 2 minutes? No. It's actually a really quick call. Let me do it right now. I place the call, tick, it's done. Next one. Buy a Shure MV7 mic, ? Someone had suggested that to me, and I immediately took note because I didn't want to forget, but I knew when I got that suggestion that I'm going to have to think about it. I'm going to have to spend some time considering this. So that's a task. Now that I'm processing my inbox, I immediately realized that, you know what, my mic is good enough. Not the one that I have here in Brazil. This one is not good enough, but the one I have in Australia is. So I will not consider buying this now. So I'm just going to delete this task. Call Super and review insurance situation. Well, that's not information. It's not an event. It's a task. It's going to take more than 2 minutes. I need to do it myself, but I'm not going to do it now or today. So I will defer. I will move this to where it belongs, the list of finances in my to-do app. And eventually, one day, I will prioritize this to be done. I still haven't done that because it's not that important. I've prioritized other things. Next item, backup my Mac. Well, all it takes is for me to plug my hard drive and press a button. So it takes less than 2 minutes. I'm going to do this task right now. And like this, I went through the whole list. Adding things where they belong. This one here, for example, color code for MSD yellow. That's a piece of information. I never need, it's not a task. I will need to know this information at times in the future, but it doesn't belong to my to-do app. It belongs to my notes app. It's a note, it's an information. So I copy and paste to my notes app, Craft, and then I delete or tick as done. Once I'm done with this, I have an empty inbox. And that's wonderful. It's a wonderful feeling. Now the result is you have an empty inbox, so you're going to have an empty mind. At the end of this organizing phase, your inbox should be empty, and then your mind will be calm. And please remember that the inbox is not your to-do list. It's a temporary holding place between tasks being everywhere, including in your mind, to tasks being exactly where they belong, which involves you stopping and thinking about it. It's a temporary holding place, a limbo. So never keep anything in your inbox. You process it once, it should be 0. And you also don't put anything back in the inbox. If you don't know where to put it, either put it today to think about it sometime today, or put it into an appropriate folder, and when you do your weekly plan, you will then decide what to do with it. So that is the second practice of organize. Now let me see if we have any questions. And I would really like to cover at least the third practice of plan. Transmission has suddenly gone very flaky here. Can you guys see me and hear me well now? The inbox is empty, but a lot of undone tasks. Yes, absolutely. You will always have things to do. As long as you are alive, as long as you're breathing, you're going to have undone tasks. Unless if you live in a monastery, in a cave, if you have no responsibilities, nothing to take care of other than yourself, then you don't need a to-do app. But that's not our life. We live complex lives. We have different areas of our life. We have work, family, bills, etc. So yes, there will always be undone tasks. But the difference is, at this point of the process, they are not everywhere. They are all where they belong, and you're only going to see them, you're only going to become aware of them when it's time for you to actually do them. And that makes a whole difference. All right. Yeah, even the monks in the monastery have tasks to complete daily. I lived in the monastery for a while, but the tasks it's always kind of the same thing. It's not new things. At this point, I would like to just take a moment to let you know that my new book, Wise Confidence, is available for pre-order. It's going to be launched only in March 12th, but you can already pre-order, so then when it's ready, it's coming your way. So if you want to know more, you can go to mindfulselfdiscipline.com. Let me try this trick that someone just told me now. mindfulselfdiscipline.com /pre-order. Let's see if this goes. All right. The bots are not that smart after all. So mindfulselfdiscipline.com will take you to a page where you can buy a copy of the book if you like. And let me show you what it looks like. So this is the book. It's Wise Confidence. The focus of the book is moving from self-doubt to self-confidence, but it's actually explaining a framework of personal transformation that is useful for any type of self-transformation that you want to go through. So even if you are already confident, you will get a lot from this book. At least 70% of this book will still be relevant for you. And here are the places where you can pre-order the book and all the cool authors who have already read the book and loved it. Now, another place that you can go if you would like to support the launch of the book, you can go to mindfulselfdiscipline.com /book launch. And we have a launch tribe here. So here is what you can do to help. And here are the perks that you get for being a supporter and where you can join. All right. So I hope you get a lot from this book. It's a continuation of the mindful self-discipline framework. It's not a completely new thing. It is getting many of the principles of mindful self-discipline and applying that to transforming yourself to internal goals for you to become your aspirational identity, the person you want to be. So, Hage asks, you did an inbox note to back up your computer. What would be your preferred method for prompting a monthly tasks? Okay, so I have a task called monthly tasks, and I have a task called weekly tasks, and I have set them up as a recurring task in my task manager. All task managers that are worth their salt have that feature. And so little things like this, back up my computer, check my spam folders just to make sure nothing important fell in there. There is a weekly task or a monthly task that has all of these little things as a checklist. So I just see them when that one task comes up, and then I tick them as subtasks. Thank you, Feel Fit Foodie. All right, so the third aspect of the third step or practice of COPE is plan. Now this one there's a lot of information here and may feel a little bit overwhelming if you have never done day planning or weekly planning practice. So just know that is the case and you implement this little by little, not all at once. All right. And if you are a member of the Mindful Self-Discipline app, in the near future, I am launching a new feature. I'm going to create a new feature that will have step-by-step guiding you through the day plan and the weekly plan. So planning is what allows you to spend your time by design, not by default, and prioritize the most important tasks. You will do planning once a day and once a week. And more details on that soon. I'm going to run through this because we don't have much time. So planning is prioritizing. If you can't prioritize, you can't plan. And if you're not planning, you're not prioritizing things in your life, which means you're living reactively. I need the AC. You can learn more about time planning in chapter 33 of the Mindful Self-Discipline book. All right, so the two main types of planning is weekly planning and daily planning. Weekly planning is something that you do Sundays or Mondays. And you need to create a recurring calendar event for it. It could be a recurring task in your to-do. But since this is something that can take half an hour, it might be better to have a recurring calendar event. Both ways work though. And then day planning is something that you would do first thing in the morning, during your morning routine, or at the end, right after your morning routine. Some people do prefer to do it the night before. So they will plan tomorrow tonight, and then they start the day, they already know everything. That's useful, especially if your morning routine tends to be tight. I have some clients that have implemented it in this way, and it also works. And then we have yearly planning. You do it once a year, last week of the year or first week of Jan. So let's start talking about the steps of weekly planning. And today I'm going to share these steps in great detail. Next week, I'm going to start with a summary of the COPE framework, and then I'm going to explain these steps in the summarized, simplified version. So you start your weekly planning by reconnecting with your aspirations. You remember or read your aspirations and the SMART goals associated with them. Take a moment to feel why they matter and reconnect to your why. Then you will review your previous week. So I do a week review and a week plan together. You do that to make sure that no tasks, nothing falls through the cracks in your system. I promise that with this system, you're not going to forget anything. So this is there to make sure it happens. So you would check the past week in your calendar, look at your events, and see, is there anything that I couldn't make it and I need to reschedule? Is there anything that I need to follow up on and I forgot? Were there tasks for any of these things that in the moment I forgot to capture? Maybe because I was moving quickly from one thing to another. Now is the time to look back and capture anything that I missed. Review your other inboxes. Did I end up falling into the bad habit of leaving tasks in my email accounts, in my chat apps, as papers on my desk, etc.? Then if so, consolidate all of that again in your to-do app inbox. So you see that not only we have the principle that as you're going through your day, you should be capturing everything, but we also have this practice for in the cases that you forgot to, or you couldn't, then at least once a week you go and catch them. It's like a backup. And then you go and process your to-do app inbox. Well, that will be part of your daily processing anyway. The third step is to reflect and learn. To look back at your week and is there any lesson that I'm missing? That's something that should have worked didn't. And I want to make sure that I consolidate that lesson. I learn something and I make a different choice next time. What were the biggest wins this week? Take a moment to feel grateful for them. How you made progress with your aspirations this week. What were the biggest lessons or the biggest challenges? Take a moment to become aware of them, to consolidate, to reflect. And then you can also ask yourself, what will I do different next week? That's about intention. So as you can see, these questions in Reflect and Learn, they are based on the 3-question journal that you read about in the book and that you find the tool for in the app. Just the time frame, instead of being the day, is the week in this case. And then you go and actually plan the coming week. You go through each list in your to-do app. Right? So all those lists representing the different areas of your life, you go and open one by one. You read through the tasks. You decide which ones you want to prioritize for this week. And then you attribute a date in this week to those tasks. Okay, so that's what I just explained. And if you want, you can say, like, you can put those tasks also in order. So if there are 7 tasks in a particular project that you want to do this week, well, put them in order. So that if you only get to do 3 or 4 of them, you did the 3 most important ones or most urgent ones. And don't forget to also review your items under the waiting list and follow up if needed. For some people, they like to review their waiting list daily. For me, it's enough to review it weekly. If there is anyone that I should follow up after 1 or 2 days, I'm not going to put in waiting. I'm just going to schedule it for a day from now or 2 days from now. Once you're done all of this, then your week is planned. Now take a moment to go through each day and read the tasks that you have attributed to each day and make sure that it's doable. Being aware, looking at your calendar and the amount of time you have available for each day, make sure that you are organizing your tasks in a way that it's not overwhelming, in a way that you're happy with, because this is your blueprint for the week. This is what you're going to try to execute on. So that is, well, the journal we actually already included in item number 3. I need to edit this. So this is basically your weekly plan. Now let's talk about the daily plan. Similar structure. You begin by reviewing your aspirations. If you are a user of the Mindful Self-Discipline app, you can go through the 3 R's meditation as a way of reviewing your aspirations. Then you review your calendar. Look at what you have scheduled for today. This will allow you to be prepared mentally. You may also be aware, like, oh, I actually need to do some tasks in preparation for this particular meeting. So I need to plan time for that. It may make you realize that you actually won't be able to do the things you have planned for today. You have scheduled them a long time ago, some of them, and something new came up, something urgent came up. Then now is the time that you go and reschedule them. And it will also show you how much time you have available in your life buckets. If you have several meetings today, the amount of time you're going to have available for other things is going to be less. So make sure that you plan your day today accordingly. For example, Mondays are my busiest day. I typically have 5 clients plus this Insight Timer Live. So 6.5 hours of my day are already in front of Zoom or the camera, which it's I only have maybe an hour to do work tasks or half an hour to do work tasks that are not these meetings. So I'm not going to put many tasks for Mondays. Typically it's 1 or 2. Then you open your To-Do app and you plan your tasks in the To-Do app. You start by processing your inbox. So your inbox is going to have all of the items that you have captured since the last time you processed your inbox, so in the last 24 hours. So you're going to process your inbox. That is the organized step of COPE that we have already covered. Select the tasks for today and put them in the order that you're going to do them. So throughout the day, when you have free time to go and take a task, you don't need to look at those 10 tasks again and decide what you want to do now. You have already decided the order. You just execute in order. That means less decision fatigue, less willpower fatigue. Optionally, you may want to mark what are the 3 most important tasks of the day. The way I do that is in things I create a deadline for those tasks for today. So they shows with a little red flag. Different apps have different ways to do that. All right, so I have to go through this more or less quickly. Planning for contingencies is optional, but it's thinking about what can happen, what can go wrong, what could interrupt you or demand immediate attention, and is there anything you can do to prevent that? And then setting an intention for your day. Taking half a minute or a couple moments to set an intention for your day, to consolidate your willpower, to influence the way you're going to live your day. And that intention might be a habit that you want to break. Make sure that I don't do that thing today. It could be a behavior that you're trying to change. It could be a particular virtue or power word that you're practicing, and more about that in the Wise Confidence book. It could be anything. The yearly plan and review. We're not going to have time to go through this now. But yes, what to do. I just want to say that the yearly planning is not a month-by-month planning, week-by-week planning. It's just looking at your aspirations and goals and having a big picture of what projects do I need to start this year, what habits do I need to build or break, so that this coming year I make good progress with my aspirations. All right, it's exactly the end of the class now. Let me see if you guys have any questions. It's assuring to see all the questions raised as I am inundated with everything. Inundated, okay. I hope you enjoy the book. Feel Fit Foodie. Can I add tasks to calendar for a day of the week? Say task A, B, C to Wednesday and the other tasks to Thursday. But while doing my weekly planning, I am not too sure the exact time I'll be doing them. So that is why we use a to-do app, not a calendar. A calendar is for something that needs to happen at a particular date and time. So if you want to do those 4 tasks on Thursday and you don't know the time, then those 4 tasks live in your to-do app. When you have time on Thursday, you open your to-do app and you go through them in order. Now, if one of them you need to do at a particular time, such as showing up for a meeting, then that's not a task, it's an event, and that lives in your calendar. Will you upload this class on YouTube? This class is on YouTube, and it will stay there for 24 hours. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it there forever or not. Thank you, Becca. All right, so now let me just go through the execute part very quickly. What am I doing? Here. So basically, execute is to follow your plan, to take focused, organized action as you have planned throughout the day as best as you can. Right? If you have followed the other aspects of the system, you are taking action on one thing at a time, one bucket at a time. And it's pretty clear. You get the top item in your to-do list, and you do that one, and only when that one is finished, you go to the next one. It's uninterrupted because if any interruptions come in the form of ideas, things you need to do or remember, you just capture them and you stay undistracted doing what you need to do. Now, implementing this involves developing the skill of time awareness. That is something we have covered on chapter 33 of Mindful Self-Discipline. You can't follow your schedule if you're not aware of your schedule. If you're not aware of time, you cannot manage time. So, I refer you to that chapter of the book. Make your calendar and your watch your best friends. Become aware of how much time you have left for a particular task as you're doing it. And you can also use a countdown timer to set boundaries for tasks that can take any amount of time, like going through your inbox, spending time on social media, napping, or anything that, there's no clear end time. Use a countdown timer, decide how long you'd like to spend on that task, set on the timer, and when it goes off, you move on to the next task. Otherwise, there's a domino effect in your day, and you will not be very happy with that. And consider using a time tracker. So I'm just going through this very quickly. I don't have time now to zoom into each of them. You can learn more in the chapter 33 of the book, or you can review this class of a past season by getting a free trial to the app. Now, as you're going about your day, many obstacles may come. Procrastination, distractions, the monkey mind thinking about different things, other people interrupting you, negative emotions that come up and hijack your attention, and other challenges. And throughout this series and throughout the book, we have covered specific techniques to overcome each of them. So you can have a look at these. This is in the resources page, so you don't need to take a screenshot or anything. And if you have watched these classes or read the book, you know where to go to. So you'll learn the COPE framework: capture, organize, plan, and execute. This is the way that I run my life, that I keep myself organized, and that's what I also teach in coaching. So you learn the time buckets principle of time management, which allows you to live an aspiration-driven life. You have learned the COPE framework, the 3 core apps that you need: calendar, to-do, and notes. The importance of daily, weekly, and yearly planning and reviews. And so what's next? Take a deep breath, because this class was dense. If you are new to a lot of these things, it might have felt even more dense. And know that when I started implementing this in my own life, it was not all at once. When I help my coaching clients implement this, it's not all at once. But here you kind of got it all at once. So you're going to have to pace yourself. This is the summary of dozens of productivity books, articles, podcasts, principles that I've been exposed to. So take it little by little, one step at a time. So I would love to hear from you. What is the biggest takeaway for you today? What is 1 or 2 things that you want to make sure you start implementing from today? If you can please share that in the comments, that would be great. I forgot to see if there are any comments on YouTube. Okay, yeah, cool. And so that's basically it. Now, next week, we're going to have the final class on this series. And then we're going to take a 2-week break. And then I will start the new season mid-November, I guess, or end of November. And the new season, after 7 seasons of Mindful Self-Discipline, the new season will be about the new book. The new season will be on wise confidence. And that's a short season, because the new book is also it's much shorter than Mindful Self-Discipline. MSD is 420 pages. Wise Confidence is 280 or 270. So we can cover the whole framework in 12 sessions, which means that you will have learned the whole framework of the book before the book even comes. And when the book comes, you have the manual, but you're already familiarized with all the concepts. So let's see the key takeaways here. This session needed 2 parts, yes, or a 2-hour session. Gather all my to-do lists, the idea of having one inbox, capturing straight away and get it out of my mind, being conscious about how we want to live our lives. It's my second time through this class, so helpful. I have my task list updated. Now implementation stage. Wonderful. I feel encouraged and motivated. Decide on a task app and download it. Have a separate to-do and calendar. Thank you for sharing. Yes, thank you. I see room for improving my behavior, managing my to-do app. I am focused on implementation with a fresh attitude. Do you prefer tick-tick or to-do list? Or Todoist? I think you mean Todoist. I prefer tick-tick. I try Todoist, and there's something about their interface that I just really dislike. But tick-tick is good, and things is the one I use. Did I answer Jonathan's question above? Jonathan's question. The questions are coming very quickly, and it scrolls as they come, so I may have missed one thing or another. Jonathan's question. I'm scrolling up. I can't find it. Yeah, I can't find it. So Johanna's question, not Jonathan. Johanna's question. Do you have any advice for when I wake up often and I can't get anything done because it scrolled again? Because it's a pain, for example, chronic pain. In a sense, planning for me feels weird because I never know what's coming. So in that case, you have to, first of all, if you plan and have an intention, that will impact also your body and your mind. You're telling your body and your mind that I have a plan for today. I would like to get these things done. Now, it doesn't mean that your body and your mind will say, yes, ma'am, we are at your service and everything will happen wonderfully, but it does move the needle in the direction of your intention a little bit. If that's going to be enough or not, it will depend on the day. Some days you will be able to do it fully. Some days you'll be able to do it partially. Some days you're going to have to just accept and readjust your plan, and that's okay. All right, I gotta go. Thank you all for being here. Next week, same day, same time, we're gonna have the final class of this season, and that is the continuation of the COPE framework. We're gonna talk about digital decluttering. How do you declutter your email, your browser tabs, your phone, and what else? Your files. Specific, it's going to be a really specific class, and a lot of people love it. So again, that's not available anywhere else other than live and in the Mindful Self-Discipline app. So I hope to see you all there. And until then, take care and stay disciplined.